Okay, so we are live.
Awesome. Okay, are we good to get going?
On my end, it's still loading, but we're on YouTube, so
Okay.
I
Do you
don't
have
know.
to the YouTube that we can pull that up and just see how deleted it is?
Yeah.
Awesome. We can pull that up and just see how deleted it is.
Yeah.
All right, are we good to get going? Hi, Erin.
Yes.
Hi.
So good to have you.
Thanks.
Awesome. We can pull that up and just see how deleted it is.
Yeah.
So Allie, you're going to want to mute your YouTube to make sure that you don't get any feedback there.
Okay, are we good? Do you hear anything else? Or are we okay?
That sounds a lot better.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, perfect. Well, welcome everybody. We're so excited to have you. Today we are going to be discussing the MarketStar Pinterest team, which is our SMB team. So going into our agenda, we're going to go over some brief introductions, just to introduce who you're going to be hearing from today. We'll go through the Pinterest mission and the SMB MarketStar team, what we look like, what we value, and then the available roles that we have, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A. Perfect. So going into introductions, I am Allie Mitchum. I have been on the team for a little over 3 years now. I started out as a rep on the team and loved doing that. I became an agency manager after about 9 months on the team, and then jumped into an operations role, and I've been there ever since. I absolutely love Pinterest, and I'm like total fangirl about it. I'm 100% the target demographic of pretty much every advertiser on Pinterest. You can see like what I plan for here, and I am like millennial mom. So I love planning parties. I love spending time with my kiddos and finding new ways to like interact with them and help them explore and have adventures. And I have loved being on this team and the growth opportunities and career opportunities I've been able to see from it. So going over to Jordan.
Yes. Hey, everybody. Good to be here with you guys today. So a little bit about me. Again, this presentation is not about me and Allie. It's about you guys and getting jobs here. But we thought it was good to just introduce ourselves a little bit. So my name is Jordan Cushman, and I have been with Pinterest for about 2.5 years. And I actually started in our San Francisco office, and we partner so closely with MarketStar, and really honestly at Pinterest, this team that we have here with MarketStar is our small and medium-sized business ad sales team. It is our SMB ad sales team. Like there is no other team that's doing that, excuse me, for the US and Canada market. And so over time, I actually was able to ultimately convince the Pinterest team to let me move out to Utah to be closer to the MarketStar Pinterest team, since that's really my team. That's who I work with, that's who I collaborate with, and all of that. So before Pinterest, I was in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, working at Google, doing a few different sales and operations roles, which I like to think prepared me nicely to be able to come in and hopefully drive some impact with Pinterest and our Pinterest team. You can see here some of the stuff that I've pinned as well. I have recently been I think pining to leave my home and go to Switzerland, as I think many of us probably are. and Pinterest is a great place to do that. And it really is Pinterest. One of the reasons why I was excited to leave a wonderful place like Google and join a Pinterest is because of the mission that Pinterest has around this platform of really inspiring people to get out and do things. Sure, it inspires people also to click through on different things and purchase things. Hence the reason advertisers can have a lot of success. But at its core, Pinterest is really about inspiring people to get off their couches and go do things that make them happy. And Ali will talk about that in a second. But yeah, a little bit about me, a little about my journey. I love the team that we've built here in Utah, and yeah, super excited. And then we also have Erin on the line. I don't know if Ali, you want to introduce Erin as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So Erin is our lead recruiter. So we work closely with her in hiring the very best candidates. So I'll let Erin speak a little bit about her experience and what she does at MarketStar.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. Like she said, I'm their lead recruiter for Pinterest. So once a candidate is in the hiring process, I'm the main point of contact through basically through onboarding. So it's been super awesome to work with such a cool company like Pinterest. Of the MarketStar teams, I think that Pinterest has a really amazing culture, and it's really fun to be able to find candidates that fit into that atmosphere and help plug them into roles where they will be most successful.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so we are going to jump into Pinterest mission. And the reason why we wanted to start with this is because this is truly the why of our company. So as we look to finding new talent, we want people who are aligned to this vision. So the vision of Pinterest, or their mission statement, is to bring everyone the inspiration to create a life they love. So as you think about inspiration comes in many ways, shapes, and forms. If you think about like how you guys utilize Pinterest, it may be different than how I utilize Pinterest. How Jordan utilizes it, you saw his boards versus mine. They're different. I look for like new recipe ideas, and I'm constantly trying to find things to keep my kiddos entertained, especially like while we're in this whole COVID work from home environment. But ultimately what we're trying to do is bring that inspiration so that people can create a life that they truly love. And the inspiration comes in many ways, shapes, and forms. I wanted to showcase one of the ways, and that is through corporations utilizing Pinterest in really unique ways. So this is how the Charlie's Angels team that we're building the movie were able to utilize Pinterest to impact the movie. So let's play this. Give me 1 second.
Making a movie was to celebrate real. One of my goals in making a movie was to celebrate real women heroes. No supernatural powers. They're not aliens. Lasers don't shoot out of their fingertips or eyes. Just women kicking butt. I think it's in the DNA of Charlie's Angels. We looked at Mission Impossible. We looked at the Bourne movies, Bond, big globe-trotting spy franchises. The sequence in The Quarry was very much inspired by two things. It was inspired by the opening of the Bond film on the scaffolding, and it was also inspired by Indiana Jones, where they fight on a conveyor belt. Female stunt coordinators really informed how we shot a lot of the action. One of the strategies would be that you would want to bring a guy into as small of a space as possible so that they don't get the full reach, right, of their power. I had a mantra when I was writing, which was, I want the women to fight smarter, not harder. The film takes place around the world because we wanted to bring the Angels outside of America and make it a global agency. For instance, the Symphony Hall in the Emperor Germany. I put that on my Pinterest board very early on in the process. I wanted the villain to have the most cutting edge building that we can find. Every angle of it is sort of closing in on you. And that sequence is about them trying to get away from guards that are closing in on them. You can't make Charlie's Angels without going undercover. That was a staple of the television show. It was a staple of the films. So we looked at a lot of iconic 70s style. I always wanted bowl cuts in the film. Honestly, the initial inspiration, Dorothy Hamill. I had that haircut when I was little. I wanted to make a really fun action film, but I also wanted it to feel important to women and girls and for them to be inspired. I wanted to celebrate women working together, supporting each other, believing in each other. And this is just this generation's angels.
Awesome. So that inspiration, as you can clearly see, comes in many ways, shapes, and forms and can be utilized in so many different capacities. And that's what Pinterest is all about, is providing inspiration to make things not just good, but really great. So now we're going to jump into what our team even looks like. I wanted to showcase just some of my favorite pictures from the experiences that we've been able to have. So we had this huge convention called PinCon. We had a full day's worth of training, full day's worth of fun. And it was so cool to get the full team all together in one place, learning and growing together. We definitely are a team that likes to have fun. As you can see here, like, we force our senior leadership to do the craziest things, and they're just all in and so excited all the time. We have done things like road shows down to shop talk, things like supporting people as they experience, like losses in their lives, things like that. As a team, we really are a family, and we support this culture of pure collaboration, learning, and having fun. So then that leads us into what roles we have available, like what you guys can come and do for us on this team and what it would look like. So we'll have Jordan kick us off on what that looks like to be a sales development rep, and then we'll go on from there.
Yes, I will talk about a few of the reps. I've also been reading a few of the comments here in the chat. Lots of people from all over. Welcome, guys. People from Arizona, San Francisco, Salt Lake, all over the place, which is super cool. So we appreciate you guys, you being here. There was one comment, let's talk product management. Nathan, I'm sorry, we're not going to talk product management here. I would love to, but our team is not a product management team. I'm sorry. This is an SMB sales team that we have here, which is awesome in its own right. Product management is great. I actually have a meeting with some product managers here in an hour or two. We collaborate with them on building a great ads product here at Pinterest. But don't have too much insights. Getting hired as a product manager at places like Pinterest and others is an awesome challenge to go for, and I commend you for going for it. So potentially we can touch base offline if I can help out in any way there. But today we're focusing really on what our team is about and how we're structured, which is the various different sales roles that we have and that we support. And when you think about sales roles, sort of the quintessential early top of the funnel sales role that you'll see across lots of sales orgs is an SDR type of role. You can go to the next slide, Ali. And really SDR here at Pinterest is similar to what you'd find at other places. And the SDR rep is really focused on, qualifying leads, doing both inbound and outbound leads to drive interested advertisers to the platform. And once they get sort of qualified or found, and they throw them to another person who works with them. But it's a great place to start. Those of you who are maybe very early in your careers and maybe have limited to no sales experience, it's a great place to begin your career, learn about ad tech, and grow from there. So from there, what happens is the leads, once they get looked at and they look like they could be decent, they get thrown to what we call a partner manager. It's also called in other companies, it's called like maybe an AE, account executive type of thing. And these partner managers, I like to think of them, they're the closers, right? They're the folks who are getting on the phone with these, getting on the phone or getting on a video conference with these advertisers to help understand what their goals might be, and work with them, partner with them on strategies to make them successful in advertising on Pinterest. Likely they're advertising on other platforms, and this person works with them to say, hey, what are you targeting on other platforms? How can we do that on Pinterest? How is Pinterest different? Why is Pinterest unique? We talked a little about the mission. A couple people commented that they really love the mission. I love the mission too. And so this partner manager really gets them excited about that. and gets them to really launch their first campaign onto Pinterest. Once that campaign is launched, once their first couple of campaigns are launched, then it moves over to account management. Again, pretty traditional sort of sales flow here. And the account managers are responsible for that ongoing relationship and their ongoing performance. And so they're looking in a very analytical way at their data, but they're also salespeople. They are unequivocally salespeople. They are looking at the data to say, hey, this is performant, this is not performant. How do we get, I know your goal is a certain level of ROI on your ad spend, and here's what we should tweak to do that. Here's some new products we're doing, a new video tool that we're using to advertise with. You should consider that. I'm trying to put it in simplistic terms here, but yeah, that's roughly what they do, right? And so the account managers, again, people who are interested in data and really like the nuts and bolts of how advertising works, it's a great place to be and to grow from there. And then additionally, we also want to plug that we also, on our team here with the MarketStar Pinterest team, we also have various different management roles that open up periodically. We have a big team. It's a large team, hundreds of people. And with that, we have a lot of frontline managers and even senior managers that run this team. And they're vitally important. They're perhaps the most important folks to this team because they really drive forth with first and foremost coaching and mentoring with the folks, which I'm very passionate about. It's really important for me that people who join the team, that we try to align as best as we can with individuals' career goals and whatever that might be, whether that's to grow within MarketStar Pinterest, whether that's to come over to the Pinterest direct side, whether it's something completely different, whether it's, I saw a couple people mention dev roles. We actually had someone who was interested in that. And they worked on the tag, and they ended up going into sort of partner operations within Pinterest, right? And so I'm very passionate about that. And so whatever we can do to align those career goals, and these sales managers are incredibly, vitally important to that, along with just like building greater Pinterest and helping coach and hold people accountable and all those things that managers do, right? So yeah, those are a few of the roles that we're hiring for, that we look for, and roughly how our team is structured. So I see again a few of those comments. We can maybe touch on those as we're hitting this Q&A, but yeah, we're really excited to continue to grow this team. We've had a really strong year, and that seems almost not appropriate for me to say because it's been a very challenging year for everybody, right? And I know that, and we took some lumps at the beginning, but we've been able to come out of that as an organization and continue to try to execute and drive through that, as many companies have been trying to do through all this. And so we're excited about the growth that we have ahead of us from a greater Pinterest and also specifically within our Pinterest MarketStar SMB ad sales team. So yeah, Ali, you want to take over from here?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I live near an Air Force base, so when you hear all of the jet engines, that's why. So we have a few questions. The first being, do you have any remote positions post-COVID? Currently, we're all obviously working remote, but once that ends, we do need to be back in office. So until that changes, we'll let you know if that ever does change and what that looks like for remote positions. But currently, we are hiring for people that will be able to transition back into office, and our office is in Ogden, Utah. The next question is, any roles in the operations management space? The answer is right now we have one, and I am a team of one. Hopefully one day I will get more than just me. But as of right now, we're not currently hiring for this position. Any open positions will be posted in this YouTube, so you guys should be able to have access to that so you can see what is available. We went over any that would be readily available, and then any kind of these one-offs, it's just not available right now.
Yeah, what I will say too is that, Ali, she was a sales rep, right? And with a growing sales team like we have, that has grown from tens of people to hundreds of people, roles sort of present themselves. And yes, we've grown to a certain, degree where we have now hundreds of people, but there's still more growth ahead of us and more supporting roles that we will need over time. And so oftentimes we always look external when we look at these type of roles, but when we're hiring for an operations person, we looked externally, but Ali internally was the best person because she was just very ops minded and was already doing those sort of things. And so yeah, I mean, I think be on the lookout for those roles. We will hire for those types of things, over the course of time, and we'd love to consider folks external. But there's also power in coming in and trying your hand at maybe some of these account management and partner management roles and get your hands dirty with like what the tools we use and what's even going on in this world. Especially, I know a lot of folks. I know there's people from all over, but I know there's a bunch of folks from Utah that have a lot of SaaS related experience since we were based here in Utah, and so it's great to like get some ad tech experience, right? And so anyway, I just sort of a plug there that like, especially those that are either very early in their career or sort of a few years into their career, there could be merit in coming in and doing some other things as you then sort of pivot into those more operational roles. We have like a manager who's very interested in like operational things, and we're working with her on like, okay, what does that look like, and what are the things you can do now to like get there, and so it's very, very common conversation there. So
yeah, and it's definitely helpful to have that background and experience so that you know where they're coming from and you know what those roles look like, so that you can more effectively develop processes and procedures for them. Let's see what else we have. What are some of the metrics account managers utilize? Do you want to take this one, Jordan?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the metrics that account managers are looking at are sort of some of the traditional metrics that you would find account managers that work with other platforms. I saw someone even said that they worked on the SMB sales team at Google, which is super cool. So they probably have experience doing this. So I mean, a lot of the metrics they're looking at Pinterest has an ads manager, just like other platforms do, and they're going in there to look at, okay, what are the advertiser goals around CPA, the cost per acquisition, or their ROAS, their return on ad spend, and they're saying, are we hitting those goals, right? And the ads manager can help them sort of deduce if that's happening, based on them having it properly set up, having what's called a tag on their website, which tracks conversions that the ads are providing. And so really that's the key thing that they're looking at optimizing to, but there's obviously lots of leading metrics around that. Like how many impressions are we getting? Do we even have the potential to even hit any of these metrics because we're getting enough impressions? Like what is our cost per click? So it's sort of the traditional ad tech metrics that the account managers are looking at to align with their goals to then, deduce what changes need to be made. Do we need to broaden our target because we're not getting enough impressions? Do we need to rein in our targeting because we're getting lots of impressions, but we're not getting the conversions that we want, the sales we want, or whatever, right? So it's those sort of things that the person sort of, in a very simplistic form, looks at, and maybe sometimes even in a mad scientist sort of way is trying to like dig into all the data to figure out these ad groups are working well, these ad groups aren't, this creative that you guys have is beautiful and works really well on Pinterest is working really well, this creative not so much, and it's just sort of like trying to help tweak all these things and give those recommendations back to the advertiser in a very partnership, consultative type of way, which is something I always like to call it too, is that there's one thing I love about ad sales is the very, very much the consultative sales motion that people have, because you have to be a partner because they can turn off their ad spend at any moment, right? Unlike maybe a SaaS environment where you're in a contract, although a lot of times SaaS you can cancel at any time too, so that it's valid there as well. But with marketing, like they can just like turn off today, right? And so it's really important that you build that sort of consultative partnership approach within ad sales, which is kind of fun. So,
awesome. Thank you, Jordan. The next question is, how is the sales team structured in regards to verticals? Are teams split up by category, entertainment, retail, etc.? So our team is a little bit unique in that we actually separate based on motion. So we have multiple functions. We have our partner manager function. We have our account management function. We have our sales enablement and support, which is like SDR that we discussed. And then we have our agency team. So those teams all work together. As you heard, like an account can go through multiple functions, but that's how we're currently structured. And then we, within those functions, have different tiers or levels of service based on ad spend, based on the type of clientele, based on a lot of different key measures that we look at. The next question is, will you have UI, UX positions open in the near future, or any hiring for data science or analytics? So we are currently looking at candidates for an analytics type role. We're towards the end of our pipeline there, but the role is still posted from my understanding. Is that correct, Erin? Cool. So that role still is available and still online. So you're welcome to go in and apply there. As for UI UX, that would be more like Pinterest centric. So again, like you can reach out to Jordan and he can help in whatever capacity there, but we don't have that role on our team specifically.
And Pinterest has some UI, UX type of roles. I'm not super familiar with them, candidly. I've been on some calls with some folks who do that sort of stuff, but I don't know a ton. But yeah, feel free to look at the Pinterest Direct Careers website as well. I think our moderator even mentioned that we should put up our some contact information, and we can do that. Maybe one of the best ways is also via LinkedIn, which is an easy way to like shoot me a message, find me on there, and like shoot me a note or whatever. And I usually try to be good at replying to that stuff as best I can, so we can maybe post that in the chat or something when this is all over. But yeah, I mean, there are some UI type roles there that could be interesting. I will also say, like the analyst role, there's one of the most recent people who joined our team around that had some data science background, and we are looking for someone who can really like dig into the data and help us come up with trends around what is going on in our business. We have thousands and thousands of advertisers and millions of dollars of revenue kind of like flowing through the system, and so there's a lot of data to look at. And so yeah, we definitely need those sort of people, and not only in that specific role, but also just like even account managers. We've had account managers who have goals to become data scientists and stuff like that, and people who have left our team to go pursue those sort of things, which is great. And it's getting into the data as an account manager is sometimes, again, depending on how entry level or advanced you are, is an interesting way to start. So yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, the next question is, I noticed you guys don't have product designer positions available, but could I reach out to you for possibilities in the future? Heather, absolutely. Please feel free to reach out. We currently only have one designer on our team that helps us with like pin creation. That again could expand. Like Jordan mentioned, we're constantly adding additional team members to our SMB team. So please feel free to reach out and we can just stay connected. And then the next question is, what are the most important skills for the company? Also, I would like to know about ownership company provides. Also, I'd like to know about ownership company provides.
I'm assuming that's like equity type of.
Yeah, I think so. So what are the most important skills for the company? Do you want to take that one, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, the most important skills, I think when we're looking at people to bring onto our team, and you know, Erin and Al, you guys can pipe in too, because you know, Erin, you're talking to these folks every day, so maybe this is a good one for you as well. You know, one of the things that I'm really looking for is humble hunger is maybe a good way to put it. I just literally made that up right now, but like someone who is super hungry to grow and has that growth mindset, and who is hungry to just get at it. These are sales roles. Like, candidly, that's really what we're mostly talking about here. There's a couple supporting roles and stuff here and there, but like they're sales roles. And so you kind of have to have that hunger and competitiveness in you. It's not overly competitive. I've seen sales orgs that are like crazy competitive, but it's enough to get your juices going, right? And so there's that. But then also something that I've really valued in my career is working with people who also have a certain level of humility to them, and you know, confident humility, right? They're confident in who they are and what they're doing, but they're also like teachable, and they can also like open to growth, open to feedback. These are some of the things that I really look for. I've been fortunate enough to work with some great people both at Google and Pinterest, and some of the things that really shine out are people who are both, you know, kind, they're smart, they're hungry, and they're teachable, right? Those are just some of the things that I really value in people that I work with. That's oftentimes the people that we look for. Erin, you want to add anything to that?
Just along those same lines, super goal-oriented people that are kind of intrinsically motivated and have that motivation inside themselves to accomplish a task or complete a goal. And then, along those same lines with humility, part of this Pinterest team and MarketStar as a whole is we do really consistent coaching. All of our employees meet with their managers at least once a week to kind of just touch base and see where we're at. And so being able to receive feedback from a manager on a really consistent basis and not just receive it, but be able to apply it and adapt your performance, that is a real key to success with us as well.
And I think most of our roles, a lot of people also have some sales experience, candidly. This is like mostly what we're talking about is sales roles, and this is a sales team. And so often people that really come in and have a ton of success quickly are people who have done some sort of sales. The thing is if you haven't, that's okay. We'll teach you, right? And if you also don't have advertising and marketing background, that's okay too. We'll teach you that as well. But if you do have any of those are bonuses, and they do help you hit the ground running, and they are attractive candidates to us. So.
Yeah, I would definitely echo that you don't have to have experience. I know that it can be overwhelming or scary to apply for a job where you're like, I really don't have background in this area. But I had zero background in this capacity. And so for me, I know that it's true and you can still get hired.
Nikita maybe was the one that asked the ownership question. So thanks it looks like Nikita clarified in the comments. I'm reading him live here. Yeah. Ownership, referring to ownership to make decisions on projects once you're part of a team, how much autonomy to make decisions and stuff like that. I think that's a great question. And I think that's a really powerful question because it's really important to be able to have autonomy to make decisions. I like to think we have a lot. I think, I know I personally feel very empowered from my management team to make all sorts of decisions about how our team is structured and where we're going and what we're doing. And I'm personally very motivated by like removing red tape and like, I default, let's make decisions and break things versus like asking everybody's permission for stuff, right? And sometimes you have to for certain things, but yeah, I'm very passionate about that. And then, all the way down to the SDR, level or whatever, like down, that sounds demeaning. That's not what I mean to say, but like all the way at all levels of the company, people can and do feel empowered to like take on projects. And someone who's an SDR who's like, this is super inefficient the way we're looking at these leads. I think we should build a process to improve this. And if they tell me that, I'll say, go do it. Go fix that problem. That would be awesome. And then, use some data to show what you're doing, and let's then apply it to the whole team, right? And so I like to think people feel very empowered, and that's definitely the culture we preach. But it also takes a certain level of person who's going to take that onus and that initiative. So I think it's a two-way street there. But yeah, I think it's a great question, Nikita.
Yeah, so yesterday we had our leadership development session. Every week we hold an hour-long session with our managers, continue to provide opportunities for them to up-level their skill sets. And yesterday we were discussing Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. And one of the managers said that his reason why is because he likes to leave things better than he found them. And he said other companies that he's worked for, that hasn't been celebrated, and it hasn't honestly been something that was really allowed. But he's felt as he's come to this team that not only is it allowed, but it is celebrated. And it is something that we are passionate about doing. And like Jordan mentioned, like the reason why I was put in the role that I'm in today for operations is because as a manager, I started building out these initiatives because I was passionate about it. So I think if you have that hunger, you have that drive, you 100% would love working here because it is celebrated. So thank you for clarifying, Nikita. Okay, let me see where we're at. I'm trying to find, let's see, what does a typical day as a sales rep look like? This is coming from Natalie. What I would say there is that it's typically a mixture. And for people who like to have things the same every single day, the SDR role would more fit that. As you are a person that likes things to change frequently, or you like to have new challenges every single day, I would say more on the like account management, partner management side of things. But a typical day will look like meetings with advertisers at different stages of their journey. So you might be meeting with somebody who is just starting out on Pinterest, starting to learn what advertising on Pinterest looks like. And then later on in the day, you might meet with somebody who is ready to launch, has all their pins ready to go, and they're really excited. So you'll meet with people You'll develop these strategies. You'll provide recommendations if you're an AM, things like that. But I would say the day-to-day varies based on what the tasks are, what the calls look like, things like that. The next question.
Also a time check, just real quick. I think our moderator is saying that it might shut off right at that time.
Okay.
I just want to say, like, again, with the contact, I would say actually via Mentorly. Mentorly is making this all happen. So, and Mentorly is awesome. So I think either reach out to like myself or Ali. We're on there as mentors. So you could we might not answer all the questions, but you can reach out to us there or on LinkedIn, and we'd be happy to try to help in any way we can, time permitting. So I in case we get shut off, I just wanted to make that plug. You can just search for our names, Jordan Cushman, Ali Meacham, as was talked about in the beginning of the slides. Hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, maybe we'll touch on any last questions, right? We have a couple more minutes.
Yeah, let's see. Top challenge in sales team or company as a whole? I think that's a really good question. That's coming from Bradley. So top challenge in our sales team or company as a whole? Do you want to take that one, Jordan?
Yeah, let's see here. Top challenge on our sales team. I think one of the things that comes to mind within our sales organization that is top of mind lately is how can we retain our advertisers more? It's very, very sales focused sort of answer. But advertisers come onto Pinterest, and it's so important that we give them a good experience, that we learn about what their goals are, and that we get them set up on the right products so that they can get a quick return and then stay with us and hopefully drive success for their business. I mean, that's the whole point. But there are times where we're misaligned on goals, or we don't set up something right, and we have to then we work with them and all that. And so retention is just a key part of the business that we're always worried about and have been talking about more lately, on making sure that the customer journey from SDR to PM to account management is such that it yields retention, and it'll only yield retention if we're helping those advertisers hit their goals, right? And if they are, great, we'll retain them. If we're not partnering them well enough, then we won't, right? And at the macro level, something that comes to mind is just some recent like news things. Like we like many companies are struggling with how we can do better at having more diversity within our organization and diversity within our leadership. And it's a bit of a taboo topic, but I'm just going to go at it. Like we need more women leaders. We need more people from different ethnic backgrounds to be a part of our company. And there's things that we're trying to do to do that. And I think that is a top challenge lately that I've been hearing internally that we want to improve on, that we want to get better on. And so that's one of the reasons why I love Mentorly, because hopefully it helps people from all sorts of backgrounds and ethnic groups and whatever to potentially come and get great jobs at great companies like I like to think Pinterest is. So yeah, those are two things that come to me top of mind.
Thank you so much. All right, we have to wrap up. We're getting the times out signal. So thank you all so much for joining again. Please feel free to reach out to Jordan and I on Mentorly, LinkedIn. We're happy to continue answering questions. Absolutely love this company. I firmly believe in the mission statement and what we do every single day. So if you are interested, happy to talk through anything. And I hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, so I think we're done with the YouTube, the live chat. That's the one that shut off. But thank you guys so much. I learned a lot, actually. I don't use Pinterest. So all of this is fascinating to me. So I'm like, wow.
Are we still live? Are you sure we're not still live? It says live in the top left.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Well, perhaps. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting and end the chat. So thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Have a
Thank you.
great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Bye-bye.